The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. And if you miss an episode, you can catch me on Spotify or you could check me out online at themainstreetcode.com and find our past episodes on YouTube. And we're here to talk about our code, which is choice, organization, direction, and education. And we help hundreds of advisors across the United States and clients with their needs with life insurance, annuities, disability, long-term care. We're completely independent, and not only do we help clients, but we also act as a wholesaler where we have agents. We're like a broker's broker. They come to us with whether it's a complicated case, a large case, or a scenario, and we help people and solve their insurance issues. And we also form teams for people that don't have them. I highly recommend that you have a financial team of professionals around you. And if you don't have one, we're happy to help you put one together with an accountant, attorney, and you want everybody to be on your team on the same page. Today, I want to talk about a gentleman I knew, my plumber, by the way, about 4 or 5 years ago, had passed away. And he was a good guy. I got to know him pretty well, and I used to see him in the morning, and he spent about $10 a day on lottery tickets. And he did this for years. I'd see him, he'd buy coffee. I think he bought cigarettes. And then he passed away of cancer in his late 50s. And it's really troubling to me. After he passed, his family had posted a GoFundMe page. And it really bothered me because for $10 a day, he would have left over $1 million of insurance coverage to his family. They wouldn't have to go on Facebook and say, GoFundMe. Is that how you want to be left? I mean, GoFundMe is not an insurance plan. Occasionally he won the lottery. He won $3,000 one time. He won $1,000. But he's $10 a day. He could have left his family over $1 million. And in today's type of insurance, not only he would have left it, but if he needed cash while he was sick or something else, he would have had a large pot of money he could borrow from without affecting his death benefit, and he still could have left that behind. So, something to think about. Do you want to be left on a GoFundMe page, or do you want to leave your family in a good situation? And that's what life insurance provides. The other thing I've been contacted about more than once this week, and I'm frequently contacted about this, is people having trouble getting their death benefit from an insurance policy from someone who's passed. And why would you have trouble? Well, the one thing is I ask people, and this happened to me yesterday, it's fresh in my mind, is I said, do you have a copy of the policy? And invariably, they never have a copy of the policy. They can't find the policy. And then I ask them, okay, well, you need a copy of the policy because on the policy it has something called beneficiary. Are you the beneficiary of the policy? And sometimes yes, sometimes no, but the policy goes by beneficiary. So if you have contact with the insurance company, you know who the insurance company is, I say, well, can you give them can they give you a copy of the policy? If you're the beneficiary, they can give you a copy of the policy. It's very important. People either buy insurance, they put the policy in their drawer and they forget about it, or they don't even bother, or maybe they bought it online or something and they never really got a policy. That policy is important because it says who the beneficiary is. The policy only pays by beneficiary. So this gentleman contacted me. Actually, it's lawyers that are reaching out to me to help their clients get their death claim. It's insane because the lawyer, doesn't know what to do. So many times, this particular case, they gave me the name of a company. I know every company in the state of New York. I've been doing business for over 30 years. I've never heard of this company. So, give me a statement. Give me something. What's the name of the company? So he's telling me that for 2 years, the guy died like a year after he bought his policy. It's his father, and his father had to do a policy in a divorce settlement they forced him to do a policy in divorce settlement, and they can't find the policy. And he's been trying for 3 years to get this money. And for the first 2 years, they were contesting, because he died shortly after buying the policy. So he was fighting that. And now he doesn't have a copy of the policy. And I go, are you sure you're the beneficiary of the policy? Well, they said I was the beneficiary of the policy. I said, okay, well, that's good. But now they're asking for something from the estate. Now, if you don't leave a beneficiary down in your life policy, or if the insurance company can't find your policy, first off, there's a law that they have to keep a copy of the policy. If not, you go to New York State Department of Insurance and you make sure that someone finds it. But the automatic default, and even reps who don't know, or people that don't know, I'll leave it to my estate. Well, here's the problem if you leave your life policy to your estate. You leave it to your estate, then it goes to probate. What does that mean? So what happens is, okay, I'm the insurance company, and I see a death claim, and I see you proved, you gave me certificate of death certificate and everything else, and this is the person, this is when he lived, this is when he died, and we have as the beneficiary the estate of. Okay, so we're going to write a check to the estate of John Smith or whoever, Mary Jones, whoever it is. That's who they're going to write the check to. Well, the problem is, if the estate does not have a trust set up and it's just left to the estate, it then goes to something called probate court. Probate could take you 2 or 3 years to get through probate court. And what happens is the court decides who is the beneficiary of this policy. Now, that could take years. It could cost you money. You got to hire an attorney. And you have to prove that you are the ultimate beneficiary of that life insurance policy. And by the way, it's not just life insurance policies. We're going to get into that in a second. So that creates a big problem, especially if you're relying on this money, even if it's $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, or $1 million. It doesn't make a difference. It then goes to probate. Big problem. This is why you don't buy online and you just buy from some company you'd never heard of and you don't have an agent. The first thing I find out every time I get this call is, who's your agent? Nobody knows. They bought it online. They bought it in a group. They bought it here. If they had an agent, it may never have gone to the lawyer to find this out. If you had a good agent or somebody who knew what they were doing, they would have the beneficiary correct. Okay, that's a problem. Now, here's the next problem we find. It's not just with life insurance. With any IRA, any retirement plan, or anything, you have to name a beneficiary. And that beneficiary does not go by will. It does not go by trust. It goes by that document. My attorney called me this morning with another situation. He says the beneficiary was this woman's husband who had died 10 years ago of an IRA, a $30,000 IRA. Everything else in the estate settled, blah, blah, blah. But the woman left a $30,000 IRA, and the beneficiary was her husband, who had passed 10 years ago. She never changed it. So now that beneficiary becomes the estate. The daughter has no money. The daughter's reaching out to a company to borrow money from one of these places. Oh, we'll front you money in the estate. They charge like 45% interest. There's these scams going on where they'll lend you money against your estate. That money may or may not even get to her. It has to go to probate. Probate has to go to court. They have to decide in court who the beneficiaries are, if they divide it amongst remaining children, what portion goes to who and which one doesn't. It could take years. They could never get the money, and that's a big problem. And we've discussed in past episodes with the Secure Act 2.0, with an IRA, you have an additional problem where it then gets paid. You have to take that money over a 10-year period, and that can create major problems. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. You can reach me at 631-647-4694, or you can email me or look at me on the web, themainstreetcode.com. I'm happy to take all your questions and all your concerns. Thank you, and we'll be right back after this brief break. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. And before the break, we were talking about the beneficiaries of your life insurance policy and how important it is to have a qualified person who really knows their stuff about setting up your insurance policy properly. And that is so important when it comes to beneficiaries, the type of policy, whether it's convertible or it's not convertible. Your life insurance policy, you need to buy it from a professional who knows what they're doing, so you know where the company is, who the agent is, when you have an issue with a claim. That's a huge deal. If you're buying off the internet or just buying so-and-so, or you're putting off your decision to buy life insurance and you're buying from somebody you don't know, and then something happens and you need to make a claim, where do you go? How do you get that claim done? If you have a good agent, they're going to help you and walk you through the process where you can get paid in a day or 2 days rather than 2 or 3 years or never with a life policy. So important to work with a professional and not just buy willy-nilly online. This is a very important thing. The second important thing that I tried to stress before the break is that policy is a legal document. You need to hold that in your possession or put it in a safe or put it in a place where people know where it is. I'm finding more and more people don't have a copy of the policies, and then they're trying to fight insurance companies or whatever after the fact, after someone's gone or after they're trying to make a claim. That policy is a very important document. You should hold it closely where people know where it is. Often happens they can't find policies. I think my father had a policy. I think my mother had a policy. I'm not sure. I don't know where it is. And that goes for life insurance. That goes for annuities. That goes for retirement plans. Now, retirement plans have a unique characteristic now with the new laws that came out with the Secure Act 2.0. They demand that you have a 10-year payout, whether it's an IRA, a retirement plan, or a Roth IRA. This can be detrimental to your children tremendously if they're the beneficiary of these elements. And why is that detrimental? Well, if my child is over 18 years old and I have a $100,000 IRA and I left them as beneficiary, and let's say I had $100,000, let's say I had $1 million in my IRA or retirement plan, they would have to take out $100,000 a year for 10 years, essentially. By forcing a 10-year payout, with that money not being managed with a young person, I don't know about you, but many young people I know may or may not be that responsible when they have this find of money. And if it's a regular IRA retirement plan, it's 100% taxable. So while they may be having a good living or not a good living, all of a sudden they have to pay taxes every time they get a distribution. So that money is severely depleted to what you thought you were leaving behind in taxes. If it's an IRA or retirement plan, it also could be estate taxable even before it's income taxable. So you could potentially lose 50 to 75% of that money when you think you're doing the right thing. Now, if your child has special needs, or even if it's an adult, you're leaving it to a brother or a sister, or or you're much older and you leave it to that child, you could be knocking them into A, another tax bracket, or B, taking them off of government-supported programs, whether it's for their health and well-being or whatever. If you have a special needs child and you've left them this money, all of a sudden they're no longer getting any help from the government of special needs. You've kicked them off of that. If somebody's on Medicaid, same deal. And if somebody's, taking their Social Security and everything else, and they're in a low tax bracket or a zero tax bracket, all of a sudden you've bumped them into a whole new tax bracket. So whatever money they're making, plus this money, becomes that much less because they're in a higher tax bracket. So it could be a huge burden on people leaving somebody beneficiary wrong. This is why you need to speak to a professional to do things right and to structure things. Even if you think you're set, you may not be set the way you'd like to be set or the way you'd like to leave your legacy to your heirs. So these are the lessons of the day. And other than that, I really want to talk about this event I have coming up on September 10th. It's going to be humongous. Hopefully we'll have some newspapers there and everything else. I've lined up about 5 or 6 great speakers. If you're a financial professional, whether you're an accountant or an attorney or you're an insurance professional, you don't want to miss this. Call me and I'll make sure you get in. It's virtually nothing to attend. We're going to have Delvin Joyce, who played for the New York Giants. He was for those of you that know about football or follow the Giants, he was a backup to Tiki Barber. He received punts and kickoff returns. 165 pounds, 5'4", not drafted in college, not drafted in the pros, and he made it to the pros. And I got to tell you, not only did he succeed there, he pivoted and became a great financial professional afterwards, got himself educated. He's a manager in Florida of a big operation. I mean, there's really a person who pivoted and adjusted his career, very inspirational. Then we're going to have an expert fly in and speak about buy-sell agreements, which are so important today. Does your business have a will? There's new decisions from the government, the Connolly versus Treasury, which could force your business to pay taxes that they don't realize if someone passes, could upset their estate if the insurance is not set up correctly. We have somebody coming in and talk about that. We have another national speaker coming in and talking about the philanthropy of giving, of charity, of how to give and why to give. And we all are charitably minded, whether it's our children or our favorite charity or something else. We all have charitable instincts. How to leave your money in a charitable way, in the way you'd like to leave it. Great speaker. Rob Fishman, who's been on my air, is going to also talk about discovery, about finding out what your needs are and how to put things together and how to understand the action. We have Steve Stern, who's a legislator in Huntington, who's also came from a very well-known elder law attorney firm, who's very sympathetic to our cause. The cause is NAIFA, which is, I'm the program chair in New York State. NAIFA is the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. I happen to run the program for the state, and I'm going to be emceeing the whole event. So I'm very excited about this event. And there's probably a couple more speakers and raffles and lunch and the whole big Megillah. September 10th at the Marriott in Melville. Call me 631-647-4694. If you're a financial professional, call me at 631-647-4694. I'd love for you to come and add to the conversation and add to the education, but also it's always good to get together and collaborate. We love to collaborate. That's what we do all the time. And that's a NAIFA event that I'm hosting, that I've put together, that I really would love to see a lot of people come and enjoy it. So far we have over 100 people signed up. We expect about 200 people to come, and it's at the Marriott Melville, September 10th. Starts at 8:30 in the morning. Call me 631-647-4694. Okay, so let me recap what we talked about today. Great event coming up September 10th. We talked about life insurance, making sure that the beneficiaries are correct, Making sure you buy from a professional, very important. And let's be cognizant of the fact that if you're spending $10 a day for lottery tickets and you think GoFundMe is a life insurance policy, it is not a life insurance policy. I'm going to tell you something. I would not want to have a GoFundMe page when I pass. Okay, that's kind of like, I don't know how you feel about it. I mean, it is what it is. People need assistance, but life insurance can provide all that for you. You don't need to have a GoFundMe page if you properly plan for yourself. You've been listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. If you want to reach out to me, 631-647-4694. Looking forward to a great Labor Day. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its